morning. I'm late on my way to work. Not that late. Be there like 10 minutes late. Just having some thoughts that I'd share on the way. Let's see here. Jerusalem and Athens. An analogy by Chris Johns. If the world can be compared to a prison, then I think you could represent Jerusalem and Athens in the following way. Well, first of all, the very idea of the world being a prison is an idea that emerges more out of Jerusalem vision, if you will. The notion that our condition is something that can be escaped, that there is a heavenly beyond worth striving after. Such a notion is Judeo and Christian. So what to say? What was I thinking? I was thinking that the Athenian worldview, the view of the Western man in control of his fate, is like a prison inmate who butters up the guards, who knows the ins and outs of the system, knows who to bribe, who to prod, who to rip off, knows all the life hacks necessary to make prison living as luxurious as prison living can be. He has his private cell in block XX. It's double wide and double tall, with cable access, Wi-Fi, room service, prostitutes, whatever. All the things that a well-connected prison inmate can attain for himself in this fantasy. Whereas the Christian, the Jew, the Jerusalem stand-in this set piece would be plotting an escape from the prison itself, not just trying to make himself cozy. The interesting thing to me about this thought experiment is that there would seem to be a lot of overlap between these two prison inmates, and you can imagine how there might be a relationship that develops between the skill sets of one and that of the other. So, to paint another picture, that the Jerusalem stand-in here is trying to escape, would need to obtain some kind of schematics of the prison yard, the blueprints, where how the wiring works, maybe how the water system functions. Entry points, would maybe also need to learn how to butter up guards. Might also find himself in cell block XX with a luxurious suite. There'd just be a lot of parallels between the one striving to make himself comfortable and one striving to escape, a similar kind of knowledge would be in play, a similar kind of mastery of the system, but it would be different when the goal is simply comfort, accommodation. There would also be a tension there. I think that if the Athenian and the Jerusalemite were to be hanging out or observing each other, the Athenian might scratch his head, think, what is the Jerusalemite doing here? Why? He's like me, only he seems to have another end. Seems to be. Why did he leave cell block XX, go to double Y or XYZ? Well, he had to be closer to the main kill switch. I'm thinking about all this. There's another thought that's tangential or related, and I'll try to flesh out a little bit and connect here. So I've been spending 20 to 40 minutes every morning meditating. Kind of Buddhist Christian sort of hybrid thing. It's a lot of my thinking in the act of meditation inevitably ends up getting absorbed into the sort of the meta-analysis of what I'm even doing in the act of silencing the brain, sitting in place, observing the thoughts pass by. Is it too passive? Is it acceptable, or is too Buddhist, too passive? And I don't really have the answer to any of those questions, but they kind of populate through my brain. The only thing I can really think of one thing I think about a lot in relation to this is that the mind has more than one channel. There's the conscious channel of awareness in which we see ourselves and hear ourselves doing things in the world, saying things, thinking things explicitly. And then there's sort of the garbage collector of the mind, the cow's third stomach of the mind that seeseems to grab onto whatever comes into it and hold it there in a kind of acid dissolution chamber in the gut of the mind, and will influence thinking in a subterranean way. So, I had gotten into a kind of bad spiral for a while with my thinking, and I made a decision that in the morning I would, rather than just clamber out of bed and get on with the day, I would set my alarm clock for an hour earlier and give myself time to acclimate to the harsh texture of conscious reality. And what I do, my new routine as of a few weeks ago is I get out of bed and I immediately get on my phone and I look at silly and stupid videos for about an hour every single day. Really dumb, but comedic material. Usually I try to stay away from anything that has any kind of serious thinking involved. Anything that has to do with analyzing, and I pursue a completely escapist vein of humor and enjoyment. I give myself that morning injection as a kind of mental medicine, and I've noticed, I don't know, maybe it'll wear off. I don't know how regimented such a thing can really be in the long term, but I've noticed that this has soothed me considerably. It's like I feel like I'm feeding the gut in my mind some sugary tablets or something. It affects my mood throughout the rest of the day. Like, I've released positively charged ions into the weather system of my mind. And just by excluding these things, for instance, this video that I'm making right now, I would not want to watch during that window of time. It would be too serious. It would befuddle me and drag my mind into areas of, pain. So, there's a kind of recipe that goes into our mental input, just like we feed our stomachs certain foods, and at other times abstain, and sometimes we fast, and sometimes we feast. I think that the mind is very similar. And when it comes to this issue of Jerusalem and Athens, I think how much of our mental makeup, what's the chemistry experiment proportions? What's the proper proportion of thinking of our own comfort, of trying to optimize, set up our hotel suite, versus thinking of escape, plotting some kind of escape from it all, praying that God will relieve our suffering, and trying to decipher hieroglyphics and clues as to how God is going to pull off this heist. And it's some kind of mixture. It probably differs from person to person based on your state in life. Finding the right melody and harmony. It's not easy. But anyway, I'll leave it at that.